Hi guys, Kiri from Cooking the Books coming at you again. This time we're talking about why you should connect Cooking the Books to your point of sale. There are a few reasons why you should definitely connect your point of sale to Cooking the Books. Pretty much it will give you much better your point of sale. There are a few reasons. We'll give you much. Sorry about that. I'm just accidentally clicking things that I shouldn't hear and listening to an echo of myself. So there are a few reasons why you should do it. Pretty much the main one is that it will give you much better reporting and also give the chefs the detail of their sale mix that isn't always easily available through their point of sale, because obviously chefs don't spend a lot of time inside the point of sale like management does. So if we just log into the system, I'll take you through some of the different things that you can do with connecting your point of sale. Now, for those of you who don't already know, we are definitely going to be at Fine Foods next week. We will be sharing the stand with MIOB and MIB Counter, who obviously we connect with both. There are obviously a whole bunch of other point of sales that we do connect to, most of which will be there, including like POS and Revel, who I know are in the same sort of area. And generally, we are happy to link with any point of sale. So if you do use a point of sale that you're not sure if you can link in with, please either ask ourselves or the point of sale. And we're happy to either make it work or to build an integration with them if we don't already have one. Most point of sales do go off just a CSV file. You've then got places like Counter and Revel obviously being on an iPad that we're able to use an API for. So that does make it a little bit easier for you guys to set up yourselves any of the older point of sale systems like H&L and things like that. We do all the setup for you because obviously you do need to know a little bit about computers in order to make that happen. So, I mean, obviously the most obvious thing that you can get from integrating your point of sale is that you no longer have to enter in your revenue on a daily basis. That will just automatically appear. So if it has come through on an integration, it will come up here, and instead of saying a created date and created by, that will be blank. And that's how you know that it's been created by software rather than a person. So if someone has gone and overwritten that, it will override it to say that someone has actually edited that, so that you know whether or not, everything's coming through properly. From there, it will then break down your sales items. So you can search by date range to see the number of items that you've sold. So it will break down every sale item, tell you the quantity sold. If you really want to break this down even more, you can click on it. It will tell you the sale date, quantity sold on that day, what the unit price was. You can drill down again to work out the terminal number and things like that as well if you really want to. All of these sort of sale reports obviously are going to be a lot better if you do grab them out of your point of sale. We keep the minimum amount required for us to give you the information you need in terms of cooking the books. So obviously there's no point pretending that we're going to have as good sales reports as what your point of sale does. From here, you need to link your recipes to your point of sale code. So every time you sell a cafe latte large, as an example, you will need to link it to a recipe to decrement the stock. So I will find something that's somewhat obvious. Cheese platter, obviously nothing to do with the latte, but every time you sell that, it will then decrement what is in the recipe for that cheese platter. You can link the same recipe to multiple point of sale codes. And we can filter out these point of sale codes if there's obviously like line notes or things that you're not actually selling in food. We can select the code ranges that are appropriate for your food and filter the rest out, things like that for you to try and make it easier. Over time, when you do obviously keep changing a menu and you have a huge amount of codes in there, you can also filter by a date range. So you can only see the items that you say sold in the last week, and everything else will disappear so that you don't have to keep going back through old codes, because it can get a really long list over a period of time. Now, once you've done that, that sort of opens up every single report inside Cooking the Books. So your stock variance report, as an example, dates, opening and closing. This will then show you what your opening count was, what the purchases and returns were in that time, and then your closing count. That will then tell you the amount of stock that's been used, the value of the stock that's been used. Compare that to the amount of stock that should have been sold and the value of that stock, and then give you a variance in terms of quantities, dollar value, and percentages. So the percentage is the thing that we say to spend the most amount of time on, because anything under 10%, unless it was something like a bottle of water where you've bought a whole bottle and should be selling a whole bottle, there should be no reason that half a bottle's gone missing. You will have variance. You're not going to get your yield percentage on a carrot perfectly right. There are woodier carrots. There are carrots that are going to go soft and need to be thrown out and things like that. It will also obviously continue with your wastage value in there as well, so that you know if there was any wastage on those products, but it won't be considered as part of the variance there. If you do want to see where the items are being used, this is telling you that there are no recipes linked to sale items, but it is in these recipes. So if there's something you think are wrong, this should give you an idea of where it is linked, where it might be missing from. So this is, the link to sales is Annie, and then it also exists in these other recipes, my apologies, who haven't actually been linked to any sales. So if there is a higher variance than you expected, that will give you an idea of why, because maybe some of your recipes have not been linked. So we can't decrement those sales because we don't know that it's been sold. You can also add filters to this. So if you want to, have a filter for 10 items that you want to focus on, you can definitely create a filter, add that filter so that you don't see all the items, just the ones that you're most concerned with at the time. And obviously you can print that out as well, so you don't have to try and look at it electronically. You also have the option here to not include sub recipes if you did not want to. So that will only include the finished goods in the recipe, not the ingredients in the sub recipes that have been linked. The other report that's a really good one to look at if you are going to link your point of sale is what we call the kitchen performance report. So this will show you what your theoretical cost of goods and your actual cost of goods were and the difference between that, as well as obviously your theoretical and actual revenue. So just like your food cost report, it will show you opening stock, requisition staff meals, purchases and returns, and your closing stock to work out the cost of goods sold versus your revenue that's come in. Obviously, this is a fake database, so you should never have a negative 28.29% GP, but it will show you what your actual GP was, as well as what you theoretically should have made based on the sales of your recipes that you've linked to your point of sale. So then it will break down the value of your actual and theoretical sales, difference in dollar value, same with your cost of goods, then show you the amount of wastage that's been recorded in that time, the stock variance minus wastage, and the percentage of unaccounted for wastage against your cost of goods sold. So it will show you, again, if it's over 10%, something to worry about, and maybe then you can drill down into the stock variance. But it will just give you a nice overview of where your variances were. A lot of the time people forget that your revenue can actually affect your cost of goods. If you do have a lot of promo foods, specials, you've comped a lot of tables, you had someone come in that you were giving stuff free to, all these sort of things can make a huge difference to your cost of goods. The 2-for-1 specials you do every Wednesday, obviously everyone comes in and orders those. It pushes your cost of goods percentage up as a result. So sometimes you just tend to forget, and it's a good reminder that it's not always the chef using too much food that can increase your food costs. It will then break down your sales in terms of the selling price and the number that has been sold to let you know how we've calculated everything. So again, if something is wrong, you can have a look, work out might be wrong if you've changed a mini selling price but forgot to update that on your recipe. If your theoretical cost of goods is blown out in one of your recipes because the price has changed or someone's accidentally modified a stock item wrong, that will let you know where it may have gone wrong. Some of the other things that you can do if you have linked your point of sale is ordering. So if you have linked all your items to your point of sale, when you select a supplier, you have the option here to do an anticipated ordering. So this will say, based on your sales history for your selected time period, how much we think you will need to order for the next however many days. So, if you wanted to order for 100 days, you just change that there. If you wanted to do the last, 5 years worth of ordering history, you'd change that there. You'd then hit create orders. It would come up with all the recipes that are linked, the number of meals it anticipates that you will sell, and then obviously break down into the orders that you need to place to make sure you have enough stock to do that. Now, obviously, this is all calculated into extreme numbers of decimal points, so you may have to adjust some of the ordering quantities, but it will give you at least an idea of how much you should be ordering. You then go and do your daily order. This has come up with an error. I do apologize because obviously some of these ordering quantities are really quite small. Ordering 0.05 of a portion's worth of a recipe does not exactly agree with computer systems, but gives you an idea of how it works. It's obviously something that's more used for beverage than food, because with food it can be a lot harder to predict, but it can be good of something to do on a Monday morning, do one bulk order and then just top up for the rest of the week as you continue going. One of the other reports that you can do, which is great for if you do have large venues or you do your own warehousing, is the theoretical stock on hand. So based off the last stock take that you want to use, it will show you all your purchases, etc. in between, and then download a nice Excel spreadsheet for you showing your stock description, stock take count, purchases, sales, wastage, requisition out, units on hand, all that information so that you can see how much you should potentially have on hand at any given time. Obviously, this is completely theoretical. If you haven't entered in wastage, you won't get a valid report because we don't know that it's been used. So never rely on this in terms of, actually working out what you've got on hand. Just use it as an indication. It's pretty much the basis of the stock variance. So we go your theoretical versus your actual, which has obviously a closing stock take, so we can work out if there was a variance in there. You can also order showing this. So again, go to more, display theoretical stock on hand, select the stock take date that you want to use, and then this will show you theoretically how much you should have on hand so that when you add it to the order, you know how much you should have rather than having to walk around the cool room. You can see theoretically how much you should have at any given time. The other things that you can do, menu builder, obviously, if you have linked your point of sales when you're building a menu and doing things like your menu costing, menu analysis, you can fill in the quantity sold over the time frame. Now, again, new items, this won't work with because we haven't linked it to any sales that have come through, but definitely with your older ones, you can pull through how many you've sold and then just estimate how much you think you'll sell of the new items to give you your expected revenue and expected food cost percentage for your new menus. Obviously, you can do a sort of menu analysis in there. You've also got in yield testing, in the same way that you can type in with your menu analysis the number of items sold, you can do an autofill here as well, which will pull through the recipes in that time frame and how many you've sold rather than you having to get that information and type it in yourself. So, I mean, a lot of the system can work without a point of sale. Obviously, some of the reports, the really detailed stock variance reports and things like that can't. Obviously, with things like the kitchen performance report, you can just pull up the information theoretically based on your menu builder and then your actual based off your food cost reports, and compare the difference. It just makes it a little bit easier having all that data combined. Yeah, that's the main things obviously that you can do when you do have your point of sale linked. As I said, you don't have to use any of them. A lot of people just link their point of sale so that they don't have to enter their revenue every day, which is perfectly fine. It gives you that option. But other than that, that's pretty much the rundown of why you might want to connect your point of sale. As I said, definitely come and stop by, have a chat to us at Fine Foods. We are there pretty much talking about integrating your systems and why you should integrate everything into one so that you can get better reporting. We are sharing the stand again with MYB and MYB Counter, but we obviously link with other solutions as well. Obviously, MYB Counter is not going to be the point of sale for everyone. There is a reason why there are so many different point of sales around. And definitely, obviously, your accounting package. Again, we link in very well, have a very close relationship with MYB, but we do link with other point of sales as well. Accounting packages, I do apologize. I don't think I've had enough coffee this morning. Fine Foods has taken it out of me completely. But yes, if you guys do have any questions, please feel free to call through or email us as per usual. Leave a comment below, whatever you need to do. I hope to see a lot of you at Fine Foods next week. Otherwise, I will catch up with you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.